Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Man in the Arena podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. His name is Newdini from Wizards District Gaming. He is a shooting guard. He is a world champion in the NBA 2K League, and he is also the winningest player in league history. So, Newdini, thank you very much for coming on, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. I wanted to start with how you got your start in esports, specifically NBA 2K. At what point playing NBA 2K did you realize that I'm good enough to make a profession out of this?
I've been playing 2K competitively probably since like 2K11, 2K12, that reign. 2K11, they had a mode like we play now where you create your own player and you play 5v5. And then they got rid of it for a little bit, brought it back in 2K16. And at that time, I didn't really play that mode. I was just playing team up, which is 5v5, but with real teams. So like I was playing with like James Harden and all them. And 2K17, I got back into the ProAm scene. And I was just playing with in real life, like my brother at the time, who is also now going for the league. He was 14 at the time. And then I was just playing with some friends, and usually it was me carrying them. It was like sometimes we'd run into a comp team and I'd have 50, 60 points just to be able to win, stuff like that. So it was just like, all right. Like Scumpy has the video out where it's like, you have to do like what's best for you. Like you have to play with people that are on the same competitive level as you, or the same people that have the same drive as you. And that's when I was just like, all right, I gotta get into the community. Got on Twitter, followed Famous Enough, who is now the coach / GM of the Heat team. He kind of, we built the community, but he was retweeting a lot of stuff, trying to build the community up. And that's just kind of how I got my start. And then in 17, I was near the end of 17, I was going crazy. I was playing for a team called Major Bump, and I was playing really good at guard. And then I was just like talking about it when I was like, it'd be crazy if they ever did like a esports league or something for this. And then sure enough, I think like probably like a month or two before 2K18 came out, they dropped a bombshell at midnight my time. So like 1 Eastern, that they were going to start a NBA 2K league. And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to go for it. And that's kind of how I got my start. 2K18 was the first ever combine. You had to play 100 ProAm games with like a 70 win percentage or higher. Wow. And then you also had to, and then in the combine, the first year combine was crazy. They didn't really have a grip on like what 2K was. So all the builds, most of the builds were all just builds that could like drive and finish and dunk, and not really a lot of shooting builds. So I just went to pure sharp to kind of space the floor. And that's how I got in. I think I had like the second or third best green percentage, which is when you green a shot, it's 100% going in no matter what in the combine. So and then I've been in ever since. I had 2 seasons with the Sixers. First season, we were the first ever tip-off champions, and they had us ranked 10 out of 13 teams, and we won the tip-off. Shocked everybody. And then second year with the Sixers, back-to-back tip-off champs, and then we went to the finals of the Turn tournament, and then we went to the finals. The whole finals, kind of like I did with the Wizards this year. So I'm the winningest player in the league, like they said, which I didn't even know. And then I'm also the only player. I'm also the only player so far to go to back-to-back finals. So I don't know. I guess I just know how to win.
That's pretty amazing. All 30 NBA teams do not yet have a 2K team, correct?
Correct. They do not. We are hoping to get to that point, but it's tough.
Okay, and one thing that I learned when I was doing my research for this interview was that, and I always thought with the 2K League, and this might have been a kind of a stupid thought probably in retrospect, but I always thought in the 2K League, it was each one of you guys on Wizards District Gaming, you would go one-on-one in basically a one personal controlled player and 4 CPUs like normal, versus somebody on the other team who's controlling 1 player with 4 CPUs. But you guys are actually not doing that. You guys are each controlling 1 individual player on a team. So you guys need to be one cohesive unit like an actual NBA team, which anybody who's not played video games before, I've tried it, and it is absolutely impossible to just pick up and do with the cohesiveness of an entire team. Normally I'm playing with 1 or 2 other people, and it is downright miserable. Can't even put the ball in the bucket. But you guys are that experienced and have spent so much time playing together that you guys know each other's tendencies just like an actual NBA team. So if you wouldn't mind talking about kind of the toughest parts of maybe getting on a new teammate at the beginning of every year and figuring out their strengths and weaknesses and where they're going to play on the floor and things like that.
That is probably one of the toughest things. So for me, a lot of people in the league like to call me a versatile player because for each season I have not played the same position. So for season 1, I played like a sharpshooter. I was like Klay Thompson in the corner. Season 2, I played lock, so I was like a Tony Allen or like a not really a Jimmy Butler because he's kind of like a star,
Mm-hmm.
but like just someone that's like focused on defense and can shoot here and there. And
Right.
then season 3, I got moved to the 4 to play the power forward position. Um, so it is tough. And then on top of that, each person has different personalities or skill sets. Like for the Wizards, like Reese, he was our sharpshooter. He's very laid back. He's very passionate, but he's also very laid back. He's the one that's usually calm, cool, and collected. Same as me, I'm very calm, cool, and collected. Sometimes I can spaz out if it's just like in the heat of the moment, but I mean that's just competitive nature.
Right.
Ryan and Jack, those are kind of like our leaders. Jack is our point guard. But like our vocal leader and like our energizer this past season was Ryan and Justin. They were the lock and center. And when they're hype, everybody else is hype. And that's just how it is. You have to learn how to talk to everybody because it's tough. Sometimes people have bad days at practice and they just want to get off the game and they don't want to do stuff. So you got to know how to talk to them and get their mind right. Or if they have a bad game, bad series, that's just it's just learning how to talk to everybody. Like Ryan and Justin, they can spaz at each other and be cool, but Ryan knows that if he spazzes at me, maybe I'll shut down or something like that. Like it's
Right.
it's
Right.
those little things. And I people say all the time like it's a video game, da 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 da. Like I understand it is a video game, but at the end of the day, to me, it is very similar to basketball. Before
Absolutely.
each game, Ryan and Justin, sometimes me, would watch film, and I think that's how we were able to beat the Raptors, who were the undefeated team all season. We watched film on them before the semifinals. I know I watched a little bit of it with Ryan and them, and then I know Ryan and Justin watched a lot of film, and you just figure out people's tendencies. It is a video game, but people still have tendencies. It's just a way of
Right.
life. Everybody has tendencies. So Justin and Ryan figured out what Kenny Gotwork's tendencies were, and we were able just to play hella defense on them, and we ended up coming out with the victory, which led us to the finals.
Right, right. So can you talk a little more about the pregame preparation? Because I did want to ask, and it sounds like you guys do actually watch tape just like any normal sports team would, no matter what the sport. What is it like to watch tape? What are you kind of looking for in those tendencies? And how do you think that affects your guys' success on the court?
I think it's affects our success on the court most importantly, because when you're watching film, especially if you're a lock like Justin and me last season, you want to look and see what um, players like to do. So some players like to work on the wing and they like to go to the wing and they like to shoot when they go wing. And then when they go middle, they just like to drive. They don't like to really shoot. And then there's players that are the opposite. Some players like to shoot middle and some people like to attack the wing. Um, and then for me this year playing power forward, what I looked for is um, does the point guard dot the same side corner or does he throw a pass to the same side corner when he drives on the wing? So if he's on the right wing and I'm in the right corner and he drives right wing, if I stay, is he going to throw the pass to me so I can get an easy steal? Or is he so tunnel visioned on trying to score that I can actually drop down and get in front and then me and Justin just switch until he goes back out? Or another thing at the 4 is what do point guards like to do late shot clock when the clock's going down? A lot of point guards like to dot or throw a pass to the corner for the simple fact that they think the power forward's going to drop to try to help on the rebound. But if you stay home, it's a free steal. Um, same with
It's wild listening to this and hearing how similar it is to just a normal basketball game.
yeah.
If
It's
you just
very
took the audio out of this interview, it would just sound like I'm interviewing a regular basketball player.
it's true. And then it's just a lot of stuff. Like, and then I mean, people run plays too. There's plays that people call like 2-step, or there's a play that I think someone had named after their dog, Fifi. But pretty much all it is like we call it Fifi, but all it is the center sets a screen for the point guard to go middle, and then when he gets to the middle, the shooting guard or the sharpshooter or whoever's the other guard runs to the corner, and the corner he's running to just cuts, so that if for some reason, if the person that's guarding the shooter is just watching the ball or like daydreaming, and the corner follows the cut, whoever's defending the corner follows the cut, it's a wide open three in the corner if you make the pass at the right time.
That's awesome. So you guys are not running preset because I know in NBA 2K games you have the preset plays where you like hit something on the D-pad and it pulls up a play, but you guys are not running that. You guys are running your own custom plays, correct?
Yeah, there's own custom plays. We had a play all season that we ran for me or whoever was at the four, whether it was me or Brandon. We called it either Brandon or Dini, and all it was is if it was a baseline inbound in our offensive setting, I would hit Ryan, who's our center. He'd come get the ball, and Reese and Jack would wrap up top, so they'd each be on a wing and they would wrap, and I would just run around kind of with them or kind of run to the top of the key because my build at the four could shoot threes, so I would run to the top of the key. And a lot of times it was open. It was just up to me to make the shot. So, like I said, there's a lot of different plays. There's a play called two-step where Jack, who's our point guard, will run like we're gonna run a Fifi, but really it's a fake wrap. So Reese would run towards Jack as he's wrapping and bring his guy with him, and then Reese would just run right back to where he was standing because people aren't expecting it, so they're still moving their joystick to like follow the wrap.
Right.
And 2 steps back, it's another wide open three. A lot of plays can be ran. There was a play that Genji ran a lot. It's just like real basketball.
It's crazy. In NBA 2K, I know when I play it, it doesn't feel, it especially does not feel like the old NBA games, like NBA Live when we were kids playing those games where it's super fluid. If you want to turn left, you immediately turn left. If you want to cut back, you literally on a dime just turn right back. How would you say the animations that are put in NBA 2K kind of play to, how do you use those animations to play to your advantage while playing in the game?
It really just depends on the animation you get. I know this 2K, 2K21, a lot of centers made smaller centers. So like a lot of people are running like 6'8", 6'9" centers because they get a lot of like contact dunks like Giannis would. So it's like you get hit early on the roll and someone drops late, they're going to get a dunk. But from what was released today about next gen coming out, I guess they're adding a bunch of new contact stimulations and stuff. Like I saw a GIF or a GIF. I don't know. People say it different ways, but it was like the first time that I've ever seen this. They have a new thing now where it's like you can make contact while in the air. So for the first time in all my years of playing 2K, I saw like someone get like a DeAndre Jordan contact dunk off an oop through the GIF. It was like LeBron lobbed it to Dwight and the guy tried to jump and he just dunked it on him and the guy fell. Like that's the first time I've ever seen it. So
normally what would happen there? It would be a foul or he would miss automatically.
Usually, sometimes, at least past this 2K on current gen PS4 and Xbox One, alley oops are kind of OP. Like even if someone's standing there, you can still dunk. But past 2Ks, like this past season in the 2K League, based off of 2K20, if say Justin's playing lock, he gets screened, Ryan steps up on the left side, I'm in the right corner, and I see the center rolling, and he's going, and I know the point guard's going to throw an oop. Usually, if I just went and bumped the center, or if I stood in his lane where he was trying to go up, it would just make him do like a little jump like this and put his hands up, and the ball would go out of bounds. But this year, like I play the four a little bit in like pickups, and this year, like I can literally go down to the paint and stand where I know the center is going to get the animation, and my guy just like glides out of the way, and the guy just gets the dunk. So that's why I like this. I hope this new in-air contact is nice because maybe like I'll be able to actually jump with the oop and block it instead of always trying to have to get a steal. So
yeah, more dynamic. You can time it and try to avoid a foul and get the block.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping next gen, like animations are good, but at the same time, animations are either your best friend or they're your worst enemy. Because like there's one animation that's like a steal animation where you get the pluck and it like your guy like pats the ball, but it like goes after you like tap it, your guy has to like run around the player. And like sometimes you'll get that animation on the sideline and your guy will tap the ball and it'll go out of bounds. You don't even have a chance for the ball. It's just the game is very animation based, and it can either be your friend or your worst enemy.
Right. Absolutely. I wanted to actually talk about next gen and how that kind of affects your guys' planning and your gameplay. For those who don't know, there's going to be a new Xbox and a new PlayStation coming out next month, correct? November
12th. Yep.
So these new stations, obviously I do not know nearly as much as you would, but they have so many new features and new capabilities, and you're playing in super high def, and it affects the gameplay, obviously. So how do you expect to kind of get control and get a good understanding of next gen once the actual consoles are out?
Well, for me, I'm pretty sure for me and the people that were retained, me, Ryan, and Jack, we're going to be playing the game like crazy. At least, I know I'm going to be. I know my fiance probably won't be happy about it, but she understands.
Booty calls.
She understands that this is like my dream and everything. So,
Yep.
I'll probably put a lot of time into it. And get a player done and figure out play pickups and stuff, play in pro-am, even play park just to figure out animations, just to figure out how the game moves. That's why like when people tell me like when they're not playing pro-am, there's no way to practice. Like there's always way to practice. Like there's a speed boosting. It's called a speed boosting glitch, which pretty much it is in this gen. It kind of like lets your player run at speeds that your player probably shouldn't be running at. Um, at least side to side, and everybody was doing it. And I mean, I'm never really playing guard. Like I play guard in the off season, so I'm playing point guard for my pro-am team, but my pro-am team hasn't been on because right now there's league tournaments going on. I can't play in them, so they are playing with other guards to get chemistry so that if they win, all five get in the draft pool, etc.
Right.
So for our tournaments and leagues that we have coming up where I am playing guard, like off-season tournaments that aren't involved with the league, like I wanted to know how to do the speed boost. So I would literally go to the park and play with random people and just learn how to do the speed boost so that I could just figure it out. That's why I don't understand when people are like, "Oh, I'm not playing." Like there's no time to practice. Like there's always time to practice, whether you're watching other
Right.
people play or just playing the game in general to figure out what you can do, what you can't do, and that's exactly what I think everybody's going to do when the next gen comes out for the people that were able to get their hands on a next gen console.
Right. And for people who wouldn't understand, and I think I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but Pro-Am is kind of like a competitive tournament where you go on NBA 2K, you go online, and now you're playing against other people who are legitimately competitive about the game, correct?
Yeah.
And
So
when you say play at the park, that's more like recreational. Anybody can just join it, and you can pretty much, people like you can just school everybody who's playing.
yeah, so park mode, or it's called the neighborhood now, but park is pretty much like 3v3 or 2v2. Pro-Am is the 5v5 mode that we play where each person controls one player. And then there's modes, or there's like tournaments that people set up like WR, MPBA, SL2K, like all these tournaments and leagues that you sign up for. And then there's like a private matchmaking feature where you type in a code and you can search for a certain team and you play that team. And that's just kind of what it is. It kind of gives you that league feel. It gives you that preparation because now, like back in 2K17, no one knew there was going to be a league. So there was only a certain amount of people that were like competitive. Like they were just trying to win and prove that they're the best. And now there's a league that everybody's trying to go for. So now it's like super competitive. Like everybody's like people that aren't in the league, they're each playing with the players that are trying to make the league that are good so that they can make it. It's very competitive and I love it. I love the competitiveness
Yeah.
of the game.
Have you ever been online, just maybe playing in the park or Pro-Am, and you see a player that you haven't seen before and you're thinking, wow, this guy's extremely good? Or is it mostly you guys are a step above pretty much everybody who's playing recreationally online?
Nah, there's especially in these leagues with a lot of people I don't know, um people get better and better each year, and there's always people that um don't want to give credit or something because like they're in the league or whatever, but I'll always give credit. Like uh we play tens all the time, top tier crown. Last year when I played, I didn't think he was that good of a center, but he's leaps and bounds better now when we play pickups. Um what is stick is a great lockdown. Chris is a good lockdown, but he's not of age yet. I think he's only 15. So
How old
he's
do you have
gonna
to be in the league?
18.
Okay.
So you have to be 18 to be able to. You have to be 18, and your class has to have graduated from high school.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of people that I give. TM Chris is a great point guard. I think he should have. I think he should have got drafted. He made the pool last year, and he unfortunately didn't get drafted. Dirk, who is actually a caster for the league, is also a great player. He went for the league last year. Unfortunately, didn't get drafted, but he's a phenomenal center. Um, Slazer, who I play with, is a great power forward, and then of course Mills on deck is my brother. I'm trying to get him into the league. I think he's a great lockdown, but that's bias. But I'm also the hardest on him, so
Right.
um, but there's just a lot of great players. Early Fanta, MJB. I don't think MJB is old enough either, but Fanta is a great point guard. Just has to work on his passing a little bit. But like I said, when you're in the league, you peep because like if you can't get your team back due to expansion teams or how the league is with getting players back, like if you can't get your full team back, then you scout.
Right.
So
Right.
even if I'm getting my butt kicked by a team and losing by 20, I'm like, all right, this point guard knows what he's doing, or this center is good, or this lock's good, because not a lot of people can. At least to me, I go into every game as a guard, and I'm like, all right, this person can't guard me. That's just how I go into every game. But if he's actually guarding me and he's actually boxing me and making me like work hard, I'm like, all right, like this guy's good. Like I'm gonna keep my eye on him or play tens with him or watch his film, and
Right.
that's just how it is.
So I assume that Wizards District Gaming does not have any sort of scouting department that's devoted specifically to looking at players who are on other teams or will be coming up in the upcoming draft. So is it up to you as the players to do what you just said and kind of scout as you go?
Uh, yes. I know our coach and I believe our GM probably watch some streams here and there. Mostly probably our coach, but I know Ryan is in a lot of streams and I'm in a lot of streams. Ryan is probably the biggest scout out of them all. Like he took the chance with Justin, who is a phenomenal lock and has always been a phenomenal lock, but not a lot of people knew about him because he wasn't a big name. But Ryan watched a lot of film on him. He was able to draft him to DC, and they had one of the best pick and roll defenses in the league. So it's really just about scouting. You got to figure out who is good at the game, but like like many people have said, or if you've been on Twitter, I don't know who you follow in the league, but there's an argument going on right now on Twitter about off court and on court. Like some people are saying, like it doesn't matter how you feel about the person off court as long as you're cool on court. But to me, to Ryan, to Jack, like off court is the biggest thing. Like this season, we had about midway through the season, we were having not issues, but like just like we were hitting a slump. People like we weren't really like talking to each other. Like we were just kind of like pissed off.
Right.
And
Right.
Justin came to my room, me and Jack's room with Reese, and was like, "We need to have a team meeting." Da 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 da. And at the time, Jack was like, "No, no, no, we don't need it." But we ended up having that team meeting, and everybody hashed everything out about how they felt, how they felt the season was going, how we needed to turn around. Something Pat always told us, who's our coach, was we have a great team. And at our 20-year reunion, do we want to look back and be like, man, we had a great team and we just blew our chance, or man, look what we did. We were able to bring a championship to DC. And that's
That's
how
awesome.
we kind of looked at it the rest of the season. And and then the Wizards, when we made playoffs, they got a hold of our families and they did like a little video tribute because like me, Reese, and Ryan didn't get to see our family the whole time we were there because of COVID, so we
Wow.
never got to go home. So for them to get that set up was really nice, and then I think that kind of gave us even more motivation. I know it was big motivation for Justin because that's all he watched before every game was the family video.
That's
So
awesome.
so
That's really cool.
yeah, that's pretty much how it went. That's how it was.
So where were you guys during, were the entire playoffs this year in a central location where you guys were kind of in a bubble, or was it just the finals, or how did that work?
This year it was all remote play, so it was kind of like just playing online like you normally would,
Wow.
but through the league build, which is on PC. So like we have like two retail 2K, and then they make a build. They like take it's kind of weird because
I
I
heard
wish they
about
would.
this and it blows my mind, and I would love for some more details on it.
They pretty much take everything that everybody complains about in retail and they just take it out for the league build to make like the league build somewhat the best build, which I wish they would just listen to pros before they release games.
Mm-hmm.
But that's hopefully we'll get there at some point. But pretty much we call it league build, which is they make a version of 2K based off of the retail game that they have, and they put it on Steam, and then you download Steam and you play on PC. And the reason they do this is because you have people that like PS4 controllers, you have people that like Xbox, so you're able to use whatever controller.
Yeah.
Um, but that's pretty much it. So the league build's always different. But what we had to end up doing was bring all the PCs from our facility in DC to our apartments because of COVID. We couldn't leave our apartments really. during the time. So all practices, all games were played from our apartments. Thankfully, we had really good internet through Verizon.
Good.
And that's all it was. In the playoffs and finals, though, once COVID kind of was slowing down, we had an issue where me and Jack's internet, for some reason, kept going out. So we had to move Jack's stuff to Reese's room because Jack was used to playing on the Verizon internet, and the internet at the facility was different. But for some reason, all season long, whenever we went to the facility, I was playing better than I did on the other internet. So I went to the facility, and then like I was the only one at the facility while everybody else was at the apartments together. But you do what you got to do to win, and that's kind of is what happened because we didn't have internet, so I had to go to the facility. But it was nice. We ended up winning. I think everybody had a really good finals. Everybody played their part, and we were able to come home with the championship.
That's really interesting. And the trophy that you guys got, was that the first time that trophy had been unveiled? Because it is absolutely gorgeous.
It is not. That is the trophy for every season. I believe that. I believe teams can buy replicas, but the replicas are pretty expensive. But it all just depends. We do get rings at the start of next season, just like actual NBA teams
Hell
would.
yeah!
So, and then
good for you.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. But no, the trophy is beautiful. It's real gold and all that stuff. It's heavy. It's probably at least like, I wouldn't say it's heavy. It's at least 25 pounds, 25 pounds, but
That's amazing.
It's nice. It was nice to finally get the trophy because I was there with the Sixers last year. We went to game 5 and we just couldn't finish it and missed out on it. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'll get the chance again. I got the chance again, and I was like, "There's no way I can go 0-2. I don't want to be known as the LeBron James of the NBA 2K League." So.
I think you would want to go be known as the LeBron James of the 2K League now.
Definitely.
So you said it's game 5 in the finals, correct? You go to 5 games, best of 5.
Best of 5. This year we only played. I think we went 4. We lost the first game, and then we won the next 3. So
gentleman's sweep.
Yep, and then
the reverse sweep.
And then season 2 we went 5. We lost the first game season 2 and then won the second. They won the third, we won the fourth, and then it was all down to game 5, and
wow,
we couldn't pull it out. And like I said, is this your first year like catching it up on it or seeing it?
I've always been around esports. I've always paid attention to it. I watch a lot of Call of Duty. I've not watched a ton of 2K, but I always try to keep up on articles about it and things like that.
Okay, because like this year, obviously it was remote play, but like when hopefully COVID is done by next season, because like the actual like studio experience and everything was like so cool. Like last year,
in front of a crowd.
Yeah, like last year we had, once we made playoffs, there was people that worked at the Sixers that really followed the league and really followed us because we were very successful, to where like they got like a team bus and like drove down to New York to support us, and they had like fat heads of us. They had like the clapper things and stuff. They were like doing chants and stuff while we were winning. Like it's really cool. So I'm hoping that we get the chance to go back this year and play in front of a crowd, because it's a different feeling than playing from remote player or at home.
I bet. So I wanted to ask about that, how playing in front of a crowd is and kind of how you handle the nerves. I remember when I was in high school, I didn't play a lot of competitive games, but I was pretty high up in like the public rankings of Call of Duty randomly in this one game mode. And so I decided to join like game battles, I think is what it was called. It's just like an online way of competing with Call of Duty. And as soon as I just played in one of the game battles games, I would get so nervous that I was terrible. My hands were sweating ridiculously. Like I would try to twitch my thumbs to move to a certain way, and I would overcorrect. And I was just very, very bad, terrible at handling the nerves. And that was obviously without a crowd. I was just in my living room. But when you have to be making such small movements, I'm sure being surrounded by a crowd cheering you on or booing you or doing whatever has to affect your gameplay. How did you kind of handle that last year when you were with the Sixers?
I mean, for me, it's literally you just have to block out the noise, because there's plenty of times where like they're in the Orlando ticket, when we went to Orlando for the ticket tournament, our first game was against the Kings, and at that time they had BP as their point guard, who's a really good dribbler. And the first half he was just cooking me. He was doing whatever he wanted because I was playing lockdown and I was just playing bad. We were still in the game, thankfully, because Radiant was playing really good. I think we were only going down like 2 into the halftime, and people were like, there was like one time he like went like 5 out without a screen and did a move and beat me to the wing, and he missed, but like you could hear the crowd like going crazy in the background, and I was just like, and then I was just like, you know what, whatever, da da da. And then at halftime, Radiant pulled me to the side, and he was like, he pretty much told me, he's like, BP only likes to, like, he always likes to come back to you, like he never actually goes around the screen. And I took that advice, and the rest of the game, I think he finished the first half with like 25 points, and then he finished the game with like 27. So it's just like,
shut him down.
It's just little adjustments, and that's why it's a team game. Like I was too worried about trying to get a stop that I wasn't actually looking at how he was playing, but Radiant was, and Radiant was like, all right, this is what you have to do. And that's why you have to listen to your teammates. I think the biggest thing in this league is to not have an ego. If you come into this league with an ego, you're going to be bad. Your team's not going to like you. Season 1 with the Sixers, I was drafted as the primary sharp, and Scruddy was like our 6th man. Going into the tip-off, the starting lineup was me, or it was Radiant, and then me at the sharp, like the main sharp, Scruddy at the secondary sharp, Feast, and Steez. And we ended up making it through the money round, like, but I didn't have that fast of a jump shot, and at the time I wasn't making as many shots as Scruddy was. So before the money rounds, or before like the actual championship rounds for the next day, Kite, or Jeff, our coach, he came up to me and he said, we're thinking about putting Scruddy at the secondary, or at the main sharp at the 2, and putting you on the sharp at the 3. How do you feel about that? And on the inside, I was like pissed. It's the first season. Like, I don't want to move positions. Like, I want to be like a top sharp. And at the same time, I was like, I just told him, I said, if you think this is going to help us win, let's do it. And we did that, and we ended up winning the tip-off and obviously no one thought we were going to win it. We ended up winning the tip-off, and everybody was shocked. We got back to the bus to go back to the hotel, and Steez was like, we really did it. Like, I don't know how we did it, but we did it. And I just, from that point on, I just know, like, yeah, I love playing guard, but at the same time, I have to do what's best for the team. So season 2 went back to the Sixers. We didn't draft a lock. I just told Kite, I said, give me a little bit, I'll figure it out. I figured it out. And then season 3, they drafted me, and Ryan always told me the funny story how they were talking about all these other power forwards that actually play the power forward position, because I've never played it. And there was like 30 seconds left on their pick in the second, or their second pick in the second round, because they already drafted Justin in the second round. And with like 30 seconds left, Pat, who I guess likes me a lot, was just like, we're going to take Dini. And at the time, Ryan was mad because he was like, you just threw our season. Like, I don't have a good 4. Like, he wasn't really like saying that, but he was thinking it, because he's like, man, like, we have such a good team. We didn't draft someone that actually plays the floor. Now I got to teach somebody and all this stuff. And we were laughing about it once we won the championship, because he was like, he was like, I really thought we threw the championship. He said, but you went to a new position, and you learned, and you listened, and that's really all it is. I don't understand why people come in. Like, I get it. You come in, you're the best player on your ProAm team. That's how you get in. Like, you're the best player when you're playing online with your friends. Like, but you're coming into a league where everybody was that best player on their team. And to be a good team, you have to put the egos to the side. You have to just play your role. And that's what I've learned. And that's why everybody jokes, and every time they like tag me on Twitter or something, they put like the goat emoji and stuff. Like, I don't listen to none of that. Like, I get it. I think my record in the league is 86-33 through 3 seasons. And but like I said, I'm not at a power position, so like, I think all my teammates, like, I had a fantastic team season 1, then 2, and then I got blessed with another great team season 3. Like, season 2, Radiant was the best point guard in the league. He didn't win MVP, like Mama won MVP, but in my eyes, he was the best point guard. And I was blessed to have a great team, and I was blessed to have a great team season 3. And going into season 4, we're going to try to break the curse of the 2K league. So it's the goal.
What's the curse? Back-to-backs?
Back-to-backs is one, but the main curse is the teams every year. The teams that are in the finals have never made the playoffs the next season.
Oh, wow.
So season 1,
That's
it was Knicks and season 1, the Knicks and Heat were in the finals. They didn't make playoffs. Season 2, it was the Sixers and the T-Wolves that were in the finals. And then season 3, they didn't make playoffs. So
what do you think you attribute that to? Did their teams did they lose players or gain new players, or they just got too excited about their previous success, or maybe the team that lost was too upset to pull it together?
I have no idea. I don't know if it was just, like championship hangover or whatever they call it, finals hangover.
Yeah.
They just struggled. I have no idea. It was,
Hmm.
but I think we're gonna break that. We have too many competitive people on our team to feel like we're gonna not make playoffs. I really feel like if we, to me, I think what the issue is with a lot of people, and I think people are starting to realize it, is the teams that have most success in the league are the teams that have players that actually grind the game in the offseason. So like I'm retained. This is the first time that I've been retained as like in like the first batch. And to be honest, I was not expecting it. I'm thankful that the Wizards retained me. Um, I thought they were going to retain Justin. But like I said, I'm blessed. And I know we still have, if no expansion teams or even with expansion teams, I know we still have a chance to get everybody back. And that's the main goal, is to get everybody back.
Hmm.
But the first time I've been retained, and usually if people get retained, they're like, all right, I'm retained. Like the league build's not even going to be the same. Like I won't pick up, like I'm not going to play the game. But even though the league build isn't fully the same, the game and the animations are still the same. So the only thing really not the same in the league is like you're not going to get contact dunks on centers every time you run to the paint and hit square. You're not going to green every single shot that you're open. Like that's the difference. Like Kenny got work. He won MVP this offseason. They had a 16-0 record. They won both tournaments that were for money, and then they made the semifinals. Obviously, they lost to us, but all offseason he was playing every game mode. He was playing Park. He hit Legend, which is like, I mean, if you hit Legend on 2K, you have to put in like at least like a lot of hours, probably like 400, 500 hours into the game. So,
Yeesh.
and he showed what it
That's
does.
awesome.
He won MVP and his team went 16-0, and he was literally, I'm pretty sure he was unanimous. At least in my opinion, he should have been unanimous. He was the best player in the league by far,
Hmm.
and that's just what it takes. You just got to put work in. That's why, like I said, I was hoping to get retained, but I was not expecting it. And now that I am going into next gen, I'm gonna play power forward because I'm assuming we're gonna get everybody back. So I'm gonna go play power forward so I can figure out the movement of power forwards, figure out where the sweet spot is to be able to play the pass to the center and the pass to the four. Uh, Figure out what the best jump shot is for the four. Like that's gonna be my plan, so that when I go into season 4, that I'm ready and I'm prepared.
Right. Right. For sure. What exciting additions do you think could be coming down the road in the 2K League? It seems like they keep expanding, and eventually all 30 NBA teams are going to have a 2K team, which is really awesome. But what else do you think could be down the road for the league, or what do you want to see from the league to kind of expand the reach of the entire league and all the teams?
I think the coolest thing that's going to happen, and Brandon Donahue, the commissioner's talked about it a lot, is that there's going to be like uh, European and like APAC regions of like they're going to have like leagues over there or like teams over there, which I think is going to be awesome. It's just going to expand and grow the league.
Hmm.
I think a couple players are doing great things right now where they're able to get individual sponsorships or partnerships. Like my mom, that man got partnered with Point Three, which is a clothing company. Um, and then I think Tac Tuck just got a sponsor or like a endorsement or partnership with another clothing company. What I would really like to see the league do, which I think we kind of took a step in the right direction this year with doing strictly team tournaments to get the best players in, instead of doing a randomized combine. Uh, I would like to see the league get to a point where they can just sign players to contracts so that I don't have to worry in the offseason about making money or getting paid. Usually a lot of teams pay their players in the offseason. Wizards are one of them, but due to COVID this year, I don't think that will happen because, revenue and stuff.
Yep.
But it would be nice because even if I get signed to a contract for like 4 years, that would be nice. I could move to DC for 4 years and actually have my fiance and my dog and
Yep.
with me to where like I can actually be around them instead of being away for 4.5 months and not being able
Hmm.
to see them at all. Like I'd like the league to get to that point because then it kind of gives like stability, and then you could after that you could do a free agency where people can just like teams can just pick up who they want at the start of the season or during the
Yeah.
season. And I think that's what everybody, that's kind of what Call of Duty does and all these other esports leagues, and I think that's the way they should do it.
Yeah, it seems like that would be a good way of, and it seems like like you said, they're kind of modeling everything after other sports leagues. Basically, esports is modeling itself after other sports leagues. So, it sounds like something that would be pretty reasonable within the scope of the 2K league. I wanted to ask, outside of 2K, what other games do you play, and what other games are you good at?
I During the season I was playing Call of Duty Warzone a lot with Reese, who is really good at COD. I'm also good at COD. Um, I
How
was
good are
playing.
we talking?
I'm not probably professionally good. I can pub stomp a little bit in pub lobbies, but that's about it. Um, but me and Reese is really good at Warzone. I was really good at Warzone. I've also played Apex Legends. I
Hmm.
haven't played that in a while though. A game I was playing a lot when I was in DC, besides Call of Duty, was I was playing Valorant a lot.
Okay.
Um, and then that was really it. Before, like I was like drafted though, like I would just play anything that was really like just would grab my attention, was fun. Season 2, me and Steve's played a lot of Dead by Daylight. And then like before season 1, I played a lot of PUBG or a lot of Fortnite because Fortnite was popular at the time.
Yeah.
Me and my brother used to play Rainbow Six Siege on PC a lot, but I would just play anything that I just could get my hands on and have fun.
Right. Right. That's cool. I know it seems like a lot of articles that I've read about 2K players or just professional sports, esports players. They seem to get their start in a game that they ended up not being competitive in, which is always interesting. Seems like you were the same way. Um, what is the biggest shot or play that you've ever made in your career during a game?
I don't really. I've hit a couple big shots. I think the probably the one that I is like the most stuck in my head was actually in the finals. It was game 3. I think we were up 5. We were either up we were either up 3 or we were up 5, and JBM hit me in the left corner and I greened to corner 3, which kind of was like the dagger of game 3, which gave us the 2-1 lead.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the shot that sticks with me the most because all season I was not the best shooter at the 4. I don't know why, because I always have been a good shooter. I was just struggling. I don't know if it was like the internet at the house, I don't or the apartments. I don't know if it was my controller. I don't know if it was just my in my head.
Yeah.
But once playoffs hit, I was just like, I have to be able to hit. So a lot of times I would ask Reese like to shoot around for on the league build is pretty much you just load up and you guard each other and leave each other open wherever you want to
Hmm.
shoot. And that's what I did for like 2 hours. And we also did it before every playoffs series. We'd shoot around for like at least an hour, and I just got my shot down. That's probably one of the biggest shots. Actually, the shot that was the biggest shot I think so far in my career was season 2 last year. We were playing the Heat. We were down 1, and we were in a rough patch. Like we were going. I think at the time we were like 6-4, and if we lost the game, we were pretty much out of the playoff race at the time, and we would have to pretty much go crazy in our last stretch of games because 6-4 is 10.
With 3 games left, is there 13 games in the season?
We finished 11-5
Oh,
season
16
2.
games.
So yeah, we were 6-4. Yeah, so it's 16 games, and they called a play for. I think the play was for Screddy at first, just to try to get open for a jump shot. But at the time, I was on a build that was called a slashing lock, so like it was pretty good at finishing. And it's the first time I've ever hit like a buzzer beater for the win in my like career. So Radiant was like, Kite was calling the play, and he's like, all right, we're gonna do this like Steve's at the off ball for Screddy, and Radiant was like, Dini, as soon as I get the ball on the inbound, just cut. He's like, you have a point guard on you, just cut. And I said, okay. I didn't question. I just said, all right. As soon as he caught the ball, I wasn't expecting him to get the ball as fast as he did because usually there's like a little delay in like the ref giving the ball to the person to pass it in. But like it was probably within like 3 seconds he got the ball in, and I was like, in my head, I said the S word. I was like, I got to cut. So I cut, and he hit me. And like I said, animations are your best friend sometimes, or sometimes they're not. And what happened was, for some reason, when I cut, I got bumped by the point guard who was guarding me.
Mm-hmm.
But the pass that Radiant threw, the animation drugged me towards the basket, and it just let me go right past him. So I got past him, and then they gave me probably in 2K19, which was like it gave me one of the best layup animations in 2K19, and I ended up greening the layup, and that was just probably it. Because I remember I think there's actually a GIF on Twitter, and it's like if you type in Newdini, there's a GIF on Twitter, and it's like Radiant's like because how it was set up, it was point guard, shooting guard, or it was point guard from the left to the right. It was point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. And at the time, I was on the small forward lock, and I ended up greening that shot, which made us 7-4, which kind of gave us like a burst of energy. And there's like a GIF of Radiant like pushing past Screddy, and he just comes up and like gives me a hug.
That's awesome.
That's probably the most memorable shot that
I'll
I've
have to look
hit.
that up.
Yeah,
Are you going bananas when it happens?
I just stood up and I yelled green because that's at the time. Because at the time in 2K19, the other team couldn't see when you green, so you would yell green when you green. But this from 2K20 and like I think the rest of the 2Ks, you'll be able to like see when your opponent greens. So there's no really reason to like call it out now. But
right, still can. It's like yelling Kobe.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But I stood up and yelled green, and then Radiant came over and was hugging me, and it was a feel good moment.
That's really awesome. What are your personal future goals moving forward, whether it be with the 2K League or just in your streaming or esports in general?
Streaming is a big one for me. I have to stream. It's just, I wouldn't say it's hard in the 2K community, but at the same time it is, because a lot of people in the 2K community, they show love and they don't. Like they'll come in and they'll like drop by your stream and they'll say like, hey, what's up? And they'll give you a follow, but they'll never give you a sub. So it's hard. And at the same time, a lot of people are trying to make it streaming in the 2K community. So only like the really, really big names. Like I like to think myself as a big name, but I'm also not the type of person that goes out of my way to like
market yourself and things like that.
Yeah, like to be like this big name guy. Like I just like to keep to myself, but I need to start streaming more. And then in the 2K League, I just want to go down as one of like the best players and keep working that way. I'd like to have more than just one championship. I think that's everybody's goal. I feel like we have a good shot to maybe make it back to the finals this year, but I don't like saying that because I don't want to jinx nothing. But that's obviously that's just my goal. I'd like to go down as one of the best players to play, and if there is a Hall of Fame for the league, I'd like to make the Hall of Fame for the league. And then maybe once I'm done, maybe be a GM or a coach of one of the teams, or just work with the league, depending on how big it gets. That's about it.
I love it. I like the goals. I'm all out of questions, even though I can probably ask you like a million questions about what you do and how you dominate on the court. Did you want to plug any of your channels, your Twitch channel, YouTube, anything like that?
Twitch is twitch.tv/Newdini. That's pretty much what I stream on. I might start doing YouTube. YouTube is still just Newdini. And Twitter, also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, is also just Newdini. I'm trying to get all my platforms just to be one. So I'm working on it. I still got to work on Instagram, which is... that one's a pain, but I'll get that switched to Newdini at some point.
All right. Thank you very much, Newdini, the GOAT of NBA 2K. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. See ya.